It seems that people with mental illness and the addicted are being treated by being sent to prison and jails instead of getting the actual help that they need. What would you do as president to change that?
Great question, and I'm glad I'm proud of my record, by the way, of in support of people with different abilities. And well, I apologize, Mom. I called Donald Trump a jerk. When he disparaged people with disabilities, it's just not right. It just isn't right. That's not the America that I believe in. This challenge of addiction and mental health, it's important that you ask both together, because in many cases, in my personal experience, and I've had some personal experiences with my daughter as well as being governor of the state, these are dually diagnosed. And it's hard to know which is the catalyst for the other. It's really hard. I mean, just the journey that Kaluma and I have done as loving parents with our daughter that suffered with addiction, you could go to one psychiatrist and you get one diagnosis, and literally, very smart, big schools on the wall, and go to someone who was equally smart with an equally good school, and they could have a dramatically different approach. And it was frustrating. I know people that in this room, I know that there are people in this room that have gone through this challenge of addiction, alcohol abuse, now this epidemic of opiates plus heroin. These are troubling times, and mental health has a serious element of this as well. I think we need to look at this first and foremost as an illness, that it needs to be treated, that we need to expand recovery centers so that people that struggle with addictions have a network of people that they can rely on, that can share, that understand what it's like to go through this. Secondly, our criminal justice system has to recognize that there has to be second chances. 50%, this is a bigger issue at the federal level than it is at the state level, by the way. 50% of people that are serving time in our federal penitentiaries are doing it for drug-related crimes, personal for use. And that has to change. We have to recognize, and this is a place where you would think there's a growing number of people on the right, and certainly on the left, there's a number of people that believe we need to change this. You would think if we had a leader that actually said, hey, I now have people on the right that agree with me on this, you would think there'd be a pause, push the pause button on all this divide, and actually go at it. I mean, God, this would be like, I'd be like a pig in slop in Washington. If you could find someone on the other team that agreed with you on this subject, why would you wait? Yeah. Instead, this president's now using the clemency process to deal with this, rather than go to Congress and find people that are conservatives that believe it's time to modify our sentencing guidelines, the minimum mandatory sentences. There's huge numbers of people that would agree with that. But this is what the lack of leadership does. We could solve this problem. I did it when I was governor of Florida. We created a strategy. My first week in office, we had a summit of 500 people. And for the first time in Florida's modern history, we had prevention advocates, treatment providers, mental health advocates, and law enforcement all in a room, and we created a strategy. And we acted on that strategy. We had action items, and every year we would adapt the strategy based on the results we had. And we measured the effectiveness of our strategy. It was like running a business. If you don't measure things, you don't care. And then my wife was the madrina of the prevention cause. She helped create 67 different prevention coalitions. It worked, and we saw reductions. It could happen here. We expanded drug courts across the state. Every circuit court had a drug court. My daughter went to drug court, and I've been to a lot of graduations. Perhaps the most meaningful graduation for me was when, when she graduated from drug court, because it isn't easy. It's not easy to do, but it gave her a second chance, because had she not graduated, she'd have gone to jail. And having that, consequence was a powerful incentive for her. And thankfully, like a lot of other people, because of the help that we have provided and others have provided, Noelle's been drug-free for more than 10 years.